Hi. Today we've got a Sinn. As you all know, I have a bit of a soft spot for Sinn. It's the watches which first the brand, which got me first into watches. It all started off in the late 90s working in Germany and coming across them. But anyway, back to the plot. This one is a Sinn EZM5, but more commonly known as the U2. This is the all black model. There are other versions. You can get it in full silver or silver with a black bezel, and that's called the SDR version. The U basically means for watches from Sinn which use this U series case, like the the U1, UX, U2, and I believe it's discontinued now, the U1000. It's basically submarine steel, and it's impervious to salt water, or salt water resistant, let's say. This is one of Sinn's tech-filled watches. Really does have a lot of tech going on. But first, one of the prime features of this watch is it's a GMT. You might be able to see this you have the minute track in white going around the outside. This corresponds with the white hands, hour and minute, red second hand. And then you can see, let me see whereabouts is it, just coming up, there's a inner track with a red markings, and that's a 24-hour track, and that's linked to the GMT hand. If you look close, I'll drop a picture in as well so you can see it a bit better. There is a black hand, and it's now, at the minute, it's pointing down to the crown. So pointing at 4 o'clock, there's a black hand, very small, with a red tip, and that's your GMT function. So it's hidden quite nicely. It's not obtrusive in any way, shape or form. It's most people don't even know it's got a GMT function until they look really close. On the dial as well, you can see the date window at the 3 o'clock position, which has got a black background, which also lets it hide a little bit more. And at the 6 o'clock position, I don't know if you can quite see that, there's a little blue circle, and that's a copper sulfite crystal. That crystal, linked with the argon gas, which at the minute you can't see is below the minute hand, they have a little argon sign, and that means it's got argon gas, which is an inert gas, and they put this in the watch to pretty well try and stop any moisture they can. Any moisture will be sucked up by that copper sulfite crystal. Basically, it's like the things you get when you buy leather products. You can get the little sachets and they're in with trainers to absorb any moisture. So that's the low-tech version, but this is Sinn's high-tech. They even uses special seals, which help as well, stop from any kind of fogging to happen. It's also got Sinn's special oils in there. I once went on the factory tour many years ago when they were back in their old factory in Germany, so I used to live over there. And on the factory tour, I looked at some U2s which they were just pulling out the freezer. They actually take them down to -45 degrees, and literally they have to wipe the frost off the glass, the sapphire crystal one is, and to check the timekeeping is still correct, and it does, sorry, and they also go up to 80 degrees. So they really do put this through its paces to make sure it's as strong as it should be. What other tech? It's got the Sinn captive bezel as well, so the bezel can't be accidentally knocked off, which can happen on other watches. There are small screws which actually hold this in, so if you were to knock it while diving or anything against a door frame, whatever, it shouldn't pop off. It is a lot stronger than, say, a Rolex, which is just pressed on. So little techie features like that. This being the black model has got Sinn's tag-lamented surface treatment, which basically tries to make it scratch resistant. Again, when I was at the factory, they gave us a Sinn U-series case which had been tag-lamented and a screwdriver, and they just said try and scratch it, and it was like, oh, it felt so wrong. It didn't seem right at all. But they do that, and then they PVD coat it. So basically it should be stand up to scratches pretty well. I have a friend who's got a Breitling, which is it? The Super Avenger in black, and it's covered in scratches. I don't know if it's a PVD treatment or if it's simply my friend. It could be my friend, to be fair. But anyway, this watch here is 6 years old, and as you can tell, I believe there's a very small mark over here. Yeah, I don't know if you can quite see that. On the bracelet, it's pretty good. Some of the inside of the links could be a little bit better, but the actual clasp, which is, we all know, is what takes the bashing, abuse on a watch generally. There's hardly any marks. There's a tiny mark there. When you open the clasp, obviously where it catches the fold over part here, it has scratched a little bit. But overall, it's in very good condition. There's actually a mark, I don't know if you can quite see that, if not I'll drop a picture in. There's a small mark to indicate that it has been tag lamented, but it's had that treatment. It's just a case hardening Sinn use, but it is a very good one, at least when I look at this, because I say it's 6 years old, and to be fair, I don't wear it every day. I've got a reasonable collection of watches, and I wear it in rotation, but considering it's that age, it's pretty damn good. Even down to the AR coating on the sapphire crystal. I've got an older EZM1, and that's got loads of hairline scratches on it. This one, on the other hand, seems to be better. So I don't know if, because to be fair, the EZM1 is quite an older watch, where this is, I say, only 6 years old. I don't know if this has got a better coating on there, but it definitely seems to have anyway. The movement in this watch is an ETA. It's a 2893-2, which has got a 50-hour power reserve. So a decent amount of power there. And it's one of these, when you unscrew the crown on this watch being at 4 o'clock, which makes it a little bit more comfortable on the wrist. When you unscrew it, the first position you can manually wind the watch. Obviously this is an automatic. And second position, you can move the GMT hand by turning it one way, or turning it the other way will move the date wheel. Third position will be actually stop the second hand and set the time. So you've got that going on there. It is a bit of a beastie. It is a 44mm watch. It's just over 15mm thick, and it does have 22mm lug width. So it's the right lug size for the size of a watch. It's also a very heavy watch on the bracelet. On the bracelet, this comes in set up for me at, I think, 210 grams. To give you by way of comparison, this Rolex here, the SD4K, this one has got, it's raising about 165 grams. So it gives you a kind of, idea of the weight of this watch. Being this submarine steel, it is a heavy watch. Though when you order it, you do have the option. You can order it on a leather strap. I know some people say, a leather strap, it's a diver's watch, you can't have a leather strap, but this is actually a treated leather strap. So this one is good in the water. The reason why I have this, even though I've never mounted it on the watch, I brought this isn't my first U2. I had a U2 many years ago, almost 10 years ago, and I actually traded it for a Panerai, a ceramic Radomir Panerai, and some cash, obviously. But I didn't like it. It wasn't a very nice watch. It looked plastic more than anything, and I got rid of that and always pined after the U2. And so 6 years ago, I was lucky enough to get another one. And but when I traded the watch, I kept the leather strap. Don't know why really, because I've never used it. You also have the option, you can put it on the silicone straps. There are a number of different colours. I have white and red here. I think I've also got black, but not in the 22mm width. So you have the option of buying these. One thing I would say, if you buy the black model like I have, and you want to buy a black clasp later, they're bloody expensive. The silver clasp here, to be fair, I could be wrong here, I can't remember the exact prices, is about 90 euros. This one, at the time I ordered it, was like 235 euros or something ridiculous. So it's, a lot more than double the price, but this is because of their treatment again. The actual clasp itself is very similar. They both have the same opening part there, but when you want the diver's link extension, there is a difference between the two. This is more, looks like a cheaper folded version, this is more machined version. But there you go. I think it's something to do with, because they say they have to heat the watch up for the case hardening. But there you go. Also, this is tag lamented, and this is a good testament for it, really. When you look at a silver one here, that's a standard one, and you can see how beat up it is. As we all know, anyone who collects watches, the clasp always gets hammered. And look at the difference. That's almost perfect. That has had a hard life, but they're both, I've owned them both the same amount of time, so it gives you an idea of how strong this coating is. When you order these silicone straps, you can order them with or without the Sinn logos. So I always have one side with Sinn on, one side plain. But they're great straps actually. This one here, the bracelet, I always tend to get them on bracelets, but it's got the hex bolts for changing, or Allen key bolts for changing. I actually sheared one of these a couple of weeks ago, and I phoned up with UK dealers. I no longer live in Germany, and it turns out you can't just buy the pin on its own. You have to buy a link, and it's about £35. There you go. Also, little features on the lugs, they are drilled, so that makes it a lot easier for changing straps, which does help. If I was to say criticisms, when I first brought this watch, the first one I brought was about £1,800, I think, give or take, I can't remember exactly. But I looked only a couple of weeks ago, well no, sorry, last week, and they're now £3,000. And for £3,000, I would like to see a better clasp on here. Not that this clasp doesn't do its job admirably. You've got 3 levels of adjustment, but it is just a folded steel clasp. As I say, it does its job very well. Satisfying click, all works, but I would like to see a machined type, some kind of nice button type or thing. But even this isn't, you know, even this one here isn't perfect, as there isn't any adjustment. One day I keep meaning to drill 2 holes in there to give it a little bit, give it a couple of mil of adjustment. One day I will. So the clasp I think could be a little bit better. The bezel action, it's a 60-minute bezel action on this. It's okay, it does its job, but there is quite a bit of back play on there. It's not the best in the Sinn range. I also own a Sinn UX, which is also another model like this, but using the same case, but that's got a much better feel to the bezel. This one, when you remove those screws and take it off, I can't help it, I always do stuff like that. Have to see how it works. And there's just 2 normal springs on spring steel stood up. And they're okay, you can actually adjust them in position, so you can always make sure that it aligns perfectly. So it aligns perfectly, but it's just a bit, it's not the best Sinn. The UX is far better. That actually has a little ball bearing set into the case, and it's got a really crisp clip to it. I don't know what it is, but there's something with watch collectors and dive bezels, they've got to sound good. I think the best has got to be the Rolex. It's beautiful. 0 back play and a great click. Sad, I know, but it's something. But people who like watches and bezels, you could have a good bezel action. So I'm just trying to think of any other little things about the watch. The case back isn't a display model, being that depth rated, but is just a screwed in case back with U2 2000 meters, tag lamented serial symbol, Sinn, Deutsche U-boat steel, water resistant, and the serial number. There's on the bracelet, it is solid end links, and I think, to be fair, that's pretty well about it. I might drop in some shots with it on this because I tend to wear it on that one. My UX I tend to wear on the white one. But I say, oh, better do a wrist shot actually. You haven't seen it on the wrist. So that's it. It's not Considering it's 44mm, it's not overly big. You know, I haven't got massive wrists. I think they're just over 7 inches. So I haven't got particularly, you know, average, I'd say, and that doesn't look too bad. It's not too tall either. It is a little bit square looking because of the sides being the way they are, but it doesn't look bad. But you see how the crown, being at the 4 o'clock position, doesn't bite into your wrist. Sometimes you've got a crown at 3 o'clock, especially my old Panerai radar mirror, which had a massive crown sticking out here. You'd always end up with a mark here. But it looks, I think, quite nice on the wrist. It looks great when you're wearing all black or something like that. It is quite a funky watch. So there you go. That's a quick review of the Sinn UX. Okay, hope you enjoyed. All the best. Bye.